Three African-American children grilled me on why the bunny was white. One of the children, no more than 8 years old, said, "Wow, man, you're really out of touch with what's going on out there." He wasn't wrong, but I can't talk. I can only animate. And that was my first day as the Easter Bunny. Yes, I was one of those people. And by those people, I mean I was one of the few, one of the underpaid, one of the sort of proud but mostly embarrassed people who have donned the suit of the Easter Bunny. As the Easter Bunny, I made public appearances everywhere from shopping malls, to car dealerships, to libraries, and more. Where was I? Well, everywhere and nowhere, just like the Easter Bunny himself. And these are my stories. On the second day, I had a little girl ask if I was who Jesus became when he died, and then wanted to know what the deal was with the eggs. Then 2 walking bottles of alcohol sat on my lap and got a little handsy. Again, I can't speak. I can't even brush away the shame. I was very sad. On the third day, it finally happened. I got peed on. And what's the protocol? Well, we dab it and then let Jesus take the wheel. This happened in hour 1 with 5 to go. On my 4th day in the bunny suit, a woman, busy on her cell phone, left her child in what she thought was bunny daycare. She left her 2-year-old to play with me on the set while she walked around the mall having a conversation. I entertained the child for 30 minutes before the parents returned. On my 5th day, I admit it, I fell asleep. In my defense, it was dark, it was warm, and I saw no children for 3 hours. On day 6, I arrived to discover I was alone. There was no manager with a key, no one. I almost quit that day. Twice. On the 7th day of bunnying, my true love gave to me only 2 children in 4 hours. Once the 4 hours had passed, children did begin to show up, all of them odd, but one stands out. One, no more than 10 years old, with red stringy hair, quietly said, "My daddy left my mommy for 2 men, and now my grandma calls him a bottle of homo syrup." On the 8th day, I had almost no children, but there was a Harold Hill type selling the promise of the Garden of Eden across from us. I wandered over in full costume, and no one even noticed. That's how good this guy was. On the 9th day, a guy clad in a sleeveless camo shirt and a Trump hat brought his unruly son in. The son proceeded to hit me and then say, "Fuck off, bunny," as he scampered away. The 10th day was the busiest, and the kids were crazy and hateful. I almost quit 4 times that day. I did get a little revenge, however, when a little girl reached her hand up my sleeve just to see where the fur stopped, then shrieked in horror and ran. I stood up and slowly waved to her and her wretched family as they vacated the premises. This is changing me chemically. On the 11th day, the keys to the dressing room went missing. Thus, we were unable to open the set on time, and an angry mob of parents and grandparents and children formed, and that was the beginning of the end of that day. There's nothing funny to even report, just an observation on how awful human beings can be. What happened to kindness and compassion? It might be alive somewhere, but it's definitely not alive in a mall around a holiday. On the 12th day of Christmas, Easter, a grandmother came in with her granddaughter, and the grandmother sat on my lap and said, "I used to be a furry, and I had a bad experience with a bunny once, and I haven't sat on a lap since." Then the granddaughter proceeded to ask if I poop jelly beans. Again, I can't react. On the 13th day, a little girl sharted on my lap. I know this because she looked at me and said, "Bunny, I have sharted." On day 14, a man came in with 3 different women with 2 to 3 children apiece. We came to find out that all of the children were his, and they were happy with whatever setup they had. He did pay for all of the pictures, which was pretty cool. But the children proceeded to cough and or sneeze right in my face. Granted, I'm wearing a head, but it has mesh eyes and a mesh mouth, so if I die, we know why. Day 15 was awful. I wanted to quit every other minute, but I didn't. Day 16 was the busiest day of the season. Large families, daycare centers, you name it, they were there. Just unruly and bratty children. Damn. Many of these children had weird names, like Tresemme. Tresemme, like in the hair product. To quote the mother, it's what got me laid. The other was a pair of twins named Camry, and, you guessed it, Camry, and so the father wouldn't forget. But the most charming was a little boy named Soren. His parents named him that because that's when the mother told the father that they were pregnant, was on that famed ride at Disney World. That was heartwarming. Day 17 was special. There are things you never forget. Your wedding day, the day your first child is born, important things. But you also never forget the feeling of a child sitting on your lap and taking a massive shit. That's something I can't describe to you, and I can't on experience. Day 18, the final day. It was absolutely insane. The worst day. Everything that had happened before was happening again, as if it was some sort of fucked up Groundhog's Day for Easter bunnies. If it hadn't been the last day, I would have quit on the spot. But I stuck it out. At the end of the day, I was in no mood for, well, anything. And as I was walking back to the dressing room, a bunch of teenagers decided to kick me. Without thinking and remembering that I was in a bunny suit, I went running after them. And it wasn't until I was halfway down the hallway by a Chick-fil-A that I realized I was still in a bunny suit. Those teens almost got bitch slapped by the Easter Bunny. During the shift change, one of the other bunnies confided in me that he's convinced that this is his big break in the show business. I laughed out loud. I'm in no mood to entertain that, as I'm a working actor and the only gig I can land is this fucking bunny. As I exited the dressing room, which was a Claire's boutique with butcher paper on the windows, I ran into the same group of teens and their mother racing towards the bunny set, most likely to complain that a grown man in a bunny suit had chased them. I crept up behind them and whispered, "I know what you did." With a startled look, they ran faster towards my manager, and me, I ran the other way.